Which way did he go?
Not sure. I was distracted by customers. Sorry.
All right. You earned your shilling. That'll be all.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes. Maybe I could be your eyes and ears, if you have more shillings. Get the Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here! Get the Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here! Get the Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here! Get the Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here!
Come now, Mr. Holmes. Murder? Yes, Barnes has his quirks, but he also has his scruples. Not every pawn knows it's part of
Get
the
the
game.
Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here! Get the Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here! Get the Strand! Get your copy of the Strand here!
Do you even have enemies that would want to kill you? Okay, perhaps from Cordona? Mr. Barnes? A word. Oh, for goodness sake.
Who goes there?
Sherlock Holmes. Now will you please...
Mr. Holmes. Golly, I did not see you come in.
Would you care to answer some questions for me?
Well, I wish I could, but I am deep in the weeds with work. How about we reschedule in a month or two?
Come now, Mr. Barnes. It will only take a moment.
No, really deep in the weeds with important things. Well, help yourself to any book. Just take it and pay later. I trust you, Mr. Holmes.
Barnes doesn't seem like himself. Why is he acting this way? You're asking the right questions, Doctor. Let's find a way to coax him out. The ladder is broken, recently, judging by the freshness of the wood. Basics of cryptoanalysis, cryptography in Egypt. It appears Barnes has an interesting hobby. So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy? An improvised stand, but it does make the flowers more visible. In the language of Mycroft's secret agents, it's a sign. Dried flowers are replaced when the job is done. I wonder who the recipient is. The finest view London has to offer. Barnes has always been a little odd, but this is uncharacteristic even for him. I could hardly imagine anything more macabre. We're looking for a cactus needle in a haystack. A spine in a book stack? No, come on, Watson, think. I like bookshops. One of the few spots in London where you are shunned for making a racket. Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
Apologies, but I can't hear you. Please come back later.
So, Barnes has a dog now. Who's a good boy? Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
The ladder is broken, recently, judging by the freshness of the wood. Hello there. What's your name?
Lily. I know, not very original. The weather is dreary, isn't it? To be fair, my flowers could use the rainfall.
Encouraging people to stop and smell the roses?
Our national emblem. God save the Queen.
It must take patience and care to produce a bloom so beautiful.
I imagine so. I merely sell them.
A familiar spine? Is this what I found in my dustbin? The pot is damaged. The blow was severe, but softened by something.
Anything tickle your fancy, Mr. Holmes?
My condolences, Mrs. Fleming.
Mr. Holmes?
Your husband's death. You're clearly still in mourning.
Oh, no. I loved him more than anything, of course, but that was some time ago now. Life goes on.
A lesson we all learn, one way or another. I'll be off.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
Impressive stature, strong gaze. I think this man deserves a knighthood.
Really, Holmes? How can you be so sure?
On rare occasions, Watson, it can suffice to trust one's gut. So, answers a dog now. Who's a good boy? One of these things is not like the other.
Come again?
The cactus. Those fearsome spines can prove a devil to remove, and the sap is often toxic.
And a rose thorn can give you tetanus, but we still grow them. The cactus seems comparatively harmless, though you have me thinking it must be valuable.
I was under the impression that you knew its price already.
Your guess is as good as mine. The first time I saw this cactus was when I came back from my break. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller.
What do you make of the flowers in Barnes' shop window?
Well, they could use a bit of water.
Do they mean anything to you?
Mean anything how? I'm not sure I follow, Mr. Holmes.
Why do you think they're there?
Are you suggesting the flowers are for me?
It seems likely, does it not?
Oh, I hope you're right. I'm afraid I can't help with that, Mr. Holmes. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. Are you sure you're asking the right person? I'm just a flower seller. I don't know anything about this, sorry.
Are you familiar with Mr. Barnes?
Yes, no, not really. Well, in a way.
What on earth does that mean?
I know who he is, of course, but we haven't shared much more than a look.
A look?
Yes. Each morning I go for a walk in the park with my dog, and most days I spot Mr. Barnes there with his new puppy, so we see each other. Actually, we once met briefly while our dogs played. He was quiet and seemed unsteady as he approached, but since then, we've never spoken. I often see him staring through the shop window. Sometimes I wonder what he thinks about that would etch such longing onto his face. I should have worn something warmer. People don't tend to come out for flowers when it rains. Perhaps I should try selling door to door.
Didn't you once tell me that answers usually lie in plain sight?
Have a look at my flowers. They will not bite unless you touch their thorns.
I think perhaps I have been chasing shadows.
Do not despair, Mr. Holmes. Even the best of us make mistakes. We better tell Mr. Barnes what we've learned.
Mr. Barnes, I know what you did, and I know why you did it.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes. I can't hear you very well from behind the door.
You ordered a cactus from the plant catalogue and then left it for Mrs. Fleming as a gift. You place flowers in the window to get her attention and wear high heels to appear taller and more desirable. You are her secret admirer. I couldn't read this morning's edition of The Strand because it was covered in soil and spines. I know you dropped a cactus on it and then fled.
Barnes, it's Dr. Watson. Rest assured we are not interested in disclosing your personal affairs to anyone, including Mrs. Fleming. Please come out.
All right, then. So, you know what happened then? I was on my way back from the post office, having picked up the cactus and some books. It was quite an awkward package, heavy too, and when I got to your door, I dropped the cactus in your paper. Forgive me.
I needed that paper to prove a theory and prevent a crime. Your actions were rather disruptive. Your clumsiness carrying the post is matched only by the clumsiness of your romantic gesture.
Oh, it's true. I am useless with this sort of thing. I'm not even sure if Mrs. Fleming noticed.
As in most things in life, truth is the answer. Cease with the obtruse signals and anonymous gifts, and simply talk to the woman. What is the worst that can happen? She rejects you, and you are freed from this endless purgatory.
That... Yes, you are correct, of course. I do have a slight tendency to overthink things. Thank you.
So, at last, we return to the matter of the paper. I'm investigating a string of burglaries. Did you perhaps read of any before the edition was spoiled?
I don't recall, but you're welcome to read our copy for yourself.
You had an issue of The Strand here all along?
Well, naturally. I am a bookseller. I have a subscription to every magazine and newspaper in London.
So you ought to be familiar with the concept of burying the lead.
Oh no, my apologies, Mr. Holmes. I'll make it up to you however I can. I am an expert on obscure languages and translation and.
Yes, okay. Just give me the paper.
Come, Dr. Watson. Let us put this matter behind us.
Farewell, Mr. Barnes. I hope to hear good news about you and Mrs. Fleming.
Well, that was an utter waste of time.
An assassination did seem rather unlikely.
There was supposed to be another burglary. I was certain of it. Something you wish to say, Doctor?
No. Well, only that you have a remarkable faculty for deduction and pattern recognition, and that perhaps, if ill-applied...
I see things that are not there.
Yes. It is London. There will always be burglaries. Doesn't have to mean anything.
So it seems. Forgive me. Without something to occupy my mind, I turn into an entirely different animal.
Which brings us back to my news from earlier. I think I have a case for you, a real one.
Truly?
Indeed. Though perhaps not as thrilling as your stories from Cordona. A patient of mine, Captain Stenwick, told me that his servant disappeared. I said I knew just the man to help. What do you say?
Oh, Watson.
Yes, I know it's not the most tantalizing mystery, nor the story to launch my writing career. But...
It's brilliant. Let's go.
Oh, good. Well, his house is nearby. Come. Not much further now.
Is this lousy attitude of yours because of my altercation with Inspector Lockhart? Did he put you up to this?
Sir, the inspector has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you the same thing I tell anyone seeking a missing person.
Good day, gentlemen. Forgive the intrusion. Captain Stenwick, this is my colleague Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective I told you about.
At last, a professional. This useless officer refuses to do anything about Kimmy here, my missing servant. What was your name again? I shall be certain to inform your superiors.
Sergeant Ruffles, and it's my superiors who made this decision, sir.
Have there been other disappearances lately?
Of course, here and there. But when life is tough and opportunity comes knocking, you can't blame those who answer.
Why has the police department decided not to help?
We investigate murders, thefts, fraud, arson, real crimes. A servant walking away from his master is not our highest priority. That said, if we find him here breaking the law, we'll be sure to notify Captain Stenwick. Now, I must be off. Best of luck in your search.
You heard that, didn't you? The way that man spoke to me. I shall need your written testimony. Then we can lodge a complaint.
Captain, perhaps Mr. Holmes' time is better spent learning about your servant, so that he may begin his investigation.
Ah, yes. Quite right. Fire away.
Tell me about Kimmy here.
He's foreign. A Maori. All the way from New Zealand. Biggest man you've ever seen, and as strong as two. Dark hair and fearsome tattoos. He doesn't speak a whit of English, never bothered to learn. But I made do with pointing. I invested a lot of money in him, so he must be found.
May I see your servant's bedroom?
His shack is in the garden. You can't miss it.
Did you search the room?
Of course, but only to check he wasn't lying dead inside. Everything seemed normal at a glance.
When did you last see your servant?
Kimmy here normally brings me the morning papers, but yesterday I had to get them myself. He must have escaped the night before yesterday.
Is there any reason Kimahir may have left?
I should think not. He had all he could have wanted. Gainful employment, new clothes, and all the cabbage he could eat.
Did Kimahir make off with anything of value?
Heavens, no. I would have mentioned it to Sergeant Ruffles.
Still, he must have fled with some money on his person.
No, no. I kept his wages in my safe. For security.
I take it this is the first time Kimahir has vanished?
Undoubtedly. The man seemed terrified of the city. I think it was all the noise. He never left this estate. Should he cause any damage, I will bear the responsibility, for it was I who rescued him from savagery and brought him here to England in the first place.
All right, Captain. I think I have enough to get started. We shall first take a look around the mansion.
Go ahead. I'll be here, mentally drafting my complaint.
A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots. Chewing tobacco. Looks like a knee print. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. To read the ground like an open book.
Impressive. The sack of grain retained the shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. A small navy spyglass. Mutton chops, the remains of a meal. The ashes are long since cold. A heavy chemical odor. Lend me your nose, Doctor.
Ah, I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic.
No air coming through it. Is this a Taniwha, a Maori water spirit, or something else?
Either way, it's giving me chills.
A Maori nose flute. Ngurus, they're called. Clothes made of hessian. Is Stenwick really so miserly? The rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney. This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right.
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed? You think you know someone?
Where on earth are you going with this?
The door to your garden has an interesting lock.
Yes, I have uncommon locks on every door of my mansion. It makes them harder to pick. Kimmy here and I both had a set of keys.
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden.
Do you happen to know Kimahir's shoe size?
I wouldn't have the foggiest. But I'm sure it was enormous. Not that it matters. He spent his life barefoot. Despite my best efforts, he simply did not take to shoes. Are you joking? Why would I know this? Are you joking? Why would I know this? Are you joking? Why would I know this?
I came across a pile of Hessian clothes in the shack. Are they Kimahir's?
Yes. I had to give him something to clothe himself. He seemed unfazed by his bare skin, but I found it distracting.
Has Kimahir ever indulged in tobacco?
No, the man doesn't even drink.
Are you certain? I found chewing tobacco in the garden.
I controlled Kimihir's expenses since he struggled with the currency. I would have known if he used tobacco. Why are you still here?
Do you think Kimmy here had an accomplice in his escape?
coming through it.
Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh.
If you find my man, I have a marvelous whiskey with your name on it.
scrap of Hessian. These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them.
Yes, Denwick is no angel, but he's one of my few clients. Please try to remain courteous.
No air coming through it. Someone moved a cart to this spot and then took it elsewhere. Can't see it anywhere in the garden. Surveilling from afar, the intruder waited for a window of opportunity. When Kimahir went to sleep, the man crept up to the shack and slipped narcotics down the chimney pipe, then blocked it with a cloth. Kimahir inhaled the sedative and fell into a deep sleep. The intruder tried to move him, but the man was heavier than expected. The intruder fell on the sack and dropped his spyglass. In order to transport the servant, he had to use the cart. The final challenge was opening the garden door. Luckily for our intruder, Kimahir had the key in his shack.
Remarkable. It makes total sense.
You'd best have found something by now, gentlemen.
I fear that someone may have spied upon Kimahir. Likely the owner of the spyglass I found earlier. It appears they were watching for some time, as there was an impressive amount of chewing tobacco on the ground.
And your point?
I found the residue of narcotics in Kimahir's brazier. There are several explanations, perhaps your servant's recreational interest, or an attempt at poisoning.
Cut to the chase, Mr. Holmes.
You said that you checked the shack earlier. Did you notice the cart tracks near it? Now, one ought to expect a servant to make regular use of such a thing. Indeed, I would have overlooked the detail were it not for the cart's absence. If, as you say, Kimahir never leaves your estate, then where did it go?
I expect answers from you, Mr. Holmes, not questions.
I won't keep you in suspense any longer, Captain. Kimahir was abducted by the owner of the spyglass. When your servant fell asleep, he slipped a narcotic into Kimahir's brazier to make him sleep even more soundly. In order to carry a man as large as Kimahir, the intruder stole the cart and rolled him right out of your garden.
Now, hold on. All this simply to tell me what I already know? Why haven't you found him yet?
I only arrived a moment ago. It is, frankly, incredible that I have already deduced so much.
Every second you dawdle here, waiting for me to stroke your ego, is another second wasted. I'm not interested in the how, the why, or the who. I am only interested in recovering my investment. Spare me the claptrap, boy, and go and fetch my servant.
Truly, there is no better evidence of a man's nature than the way he treats those who help him. And you, sir, are a brute. The cruelty of your ignorance about the Maori people, your selfish attitude to a man's kidnapping.
The point is, Captain, we're telling you this for a reason. The intruder fled through the garden door, and we need a key to follow his trail.
Well, then you should have led with that. Here you go. I hope you'll return soon with good news. And in the meantime, please teach your companion the art of brevity.
This dreary rain is making a miserable day even worse.
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed. You think you know someone.
Roy Soulsby. That be the name of our man. A strange substance. I have my suspicions based on the color and consistency, but would you care to hazard a guess, Doctor?
Well, it's odorless, but from the way it absorbs water, I'd say saltpeter.
Then we're in agreement. Well done. Wheels picked up grass along the way. Kimahir's cart, I gather. Sturdy rope, professionally tied in a Portuguese bowline. This knot is often used by sailors to create a bosun's chair.
Are you stupid, Mr. Holmes? Stop loitering and go and do your job.
The strand proved not so useless after all. The saltpeter accident, Doctor, do you recall?
The Port of London, of course. The footwear, the spyglass.
Indeed. We shall need to take a cab there. Where to go? The Port of London, please. I will show you where to stop.
Mr. Holmes, what a compelling mystery we have stumbled upon. Perhaps I have the premise of my next novel.
One kidnapping does not a story make.
Stop! A black cat crossed before us. It's a bad omen.
I did not take you for the superstitious type, Doctor. Such things are mere fantasies, tricks of a feeble mind. One imagines a physician would keep a surer footing in reality.
Perhaps, before the war, my time abroad was difficult. Once, I came across an Afghan, bleeding, who I could not save. He pressed a rosary into my hand. A gift, he said, so as to gain God's favor. After that...
Dr. Watson?
Yes, well, I shan't get into details, but sometime later I found myself lost in the desert. Dehydration set in, and things grew ever more dire. The man's words came to me. I said a prayer and placed the rosary on a rock. A gift to gain God's favor.
And you were rescued?
Yes. A detachment of British soldiers found me.
To whom I'm grateful. For without their diligence, you would not be standing here and I would not have this case.
I'm sure you have another explanation prepared, Mr. Holmes, but I think I shall cling to the occasional superstition all the same.
To each his own, Dr. Watson. So long as it does not interfere with my methods, to it. We must press on, cat or no cat. The question remains, why abduct Kimahir?
It appears that the saltpeter explosion rattled the locals. Can't blame them for staying at home.
Could you help me?
I think I can help you.
Help me, please.
It is a shame I can't answer your question.
It's a large harbor. If our kidnapper is hiding here, finding him won't be easy.
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Is this familiar to you?
It's a shame I can't answer your question.
Is this familiar to you?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
Oh, hardly a reputable establishment.
I've seen worse. Greetings, miss. I'm hoping you can help us.
We shall soon see.
I heard tell of a recent explosion in the port. What do you know of it?
Ah, yes. Something exploded in a ship's cargo hold. Caused a terrible blaze. The sky was red with smoke till morning.
Where precisely did it occur?
The ship sank near the third pier, next to the dockyard.
My colleague and I are seeking a burly man, above average height, with workman's boots.
Half my customers, then. Your description hardly narrows things down.
Your clothes are already tight, and soon they won't fit at all. How far along are you?
I thought I'd hidden it better. How did you know? Are you a doctor?
In a manner of speaking.
He's not. He merely has the ego of one. I apologize, miss. Mr. Holmes is fond of his observations, but I am the doctor here, not him. Do you need any help?
I'm fine, thank you. I would rather not discuss my condition, nor let word of it spread.
We must go.
Oh, no. No chance of a pint, then.
Could you help me?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
Could you help me?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
How can I help? I could try and flag someone down.
Are you able to help me?
I think I can help you.
Is this familiar to you?
No, sir, I've never heard of it.
Is this familiar to you?
I don't think anyone here knows the answer. You should ask someone else.
Is this familiar to you?
As much as I'd like to help you, I know nothing about this.
May I ask for your assistance?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Yes, it really not very happy then.
Excuse me, just one question.
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Not in the mood, mate. Shoo!
Pardon me, sir. I am looking for Roy...
Not again. Yes, I'm Roy. But I can't help you find your uncle or whoever you've lost.
Now, what makes you think I would inquire about missing people?
You are the fourth person to ask this week. Just because I work at the port doesn't mean I keep track of everyone who comes here.
You say we are not the first to ask you about a disappearance. Do you recall anything about those who came inquiring?
I only remember the foreign woman. I didn't catch her name, but those are her posters hanging up everywhere. She has badgered me twice now, but I still don't know nothing.
And this woman can be found?
No clue. She was talking gibberish.
Now, where was I?
Sorry, doesn't ring a bell. Can't help you there, mate. Can't help you there, mate. Can't help you there, mate. Can't help you there, mate.
Have you seen this before?
My card? Where did you dig that up?
At a crime scene near Baker Street, involving a young servant's kidnapping, I might add.
No. Someone used it without my consent. How else would it end up there? That boat explosion stopped most traffic coming into the port.
Guess I'll be without work for a while.
Is this familiar to you?
No, sir, I've never heard of it.
Can I ask you a question?
No, sir, I've never heard of it.
Wonder why people are going missing. Puts a man on edge, you know.
Do you know anything about this?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
No, sorry, I know nothing.
Excuse me, just one question.
As much as I'd like to help you, I know nothing about this.
Is this familiar to you?
I don't think anyone here knows the answer. You should ask someone else.
Hello, lad. Is this where I may find Dea?
You read the poster? Yes? You know where my brother Girves is?
Sadly, no. Well, not yet. I want to speak to Dea. Is she around?
Emma, my mother. She got sick after the fire. Big red smoke. She couldn't breathe, so I took her to the doctor. Now I am in charge.
Where did you last see Girves?
He worked at a, warehouse. This man, Roy Solby, gave him the job. He paid him a necklace.
Do you still have the necklace that Soulsby gave to Girves?
Girves left it near the, shrine. I tried to sell it to buy medicine, but no one wanted to buy.
How would you describe this Soulsby?
He was big and strong. He had a big scary eye.
Scary, you say?
Yes, like it was made of metal.
Don't go anywhere.
If we stay out much longer, I'm going to need some supper. Do you feel like a meat pie?
Are you able to help me?
Sorry, sir. I can't help you.
Excuse me, just one question.
No, sorry. I know nothing.
Have you ever heard of a man with a metallic eye?
I've seen him even. Dirty Summers is the name. A nasty lout with a silver ball in place of a missing eye.
I shudder to ask, but where does one find a Dirty Summers?
He likely signed on with a ship. I am not one to spy on others, let alone him.
I see.
My advice, keep away from him. Have you been drinking? Never heard of it. Doesn't look like anything to me. Doesn't look like anything to me.
Are you familiar with a Roy Soulsby?
Roy Soulsby? I know the name, but he's not one of my regulars. My guess is that he works somewhere around here. Doesn't look like anything to me.
What do you know about this poster?
A foreign woman asked to put it up. She's plastered them all over the port.
Any clues as to her whereabouts?
None. It was hard to understand what she was saying.
If we stay out much longer, I'm going to need some supper.
Do you feel like a meat pie?
May I ask for your assistance?
No, sorry. I know nothing.
If we stay out much longer, I'm going to need some supper. Do you feel like a meat pie? If we stay out much longer, I'm going to need some supper. Do you feel like a meat pie?
Can I ask you a question?
I don't think anyone here knows the answer. You should ask someone else.
May I ask you something?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Can you satisfy my curiosity?
I can't tell you because I don't know.
Excuse me, just one question.
No, sorry. I know nothing.
What are you gawping at?
Mr. Soulsby, you know more than you're letting on.
What makes you say that? And how do I fit in all this? Sorry, you lost me there.
Mr. Soulsby, you know more than you're letting on.
What makes you say that?
A man named Dirty Summers was involved in some recent kidnappings across London. He used your name as a cover for his deeds.
What? Really? That doesn't mean I'm involved, though.
Your calling card was found at the crime scene. That's enough to make you a suspect.
You cannot be serious.
Give me one moment. Mr. Soulsby, you know more than you're letting on.
What? And how do I fit in all this? Sorry.
Mr. Soulsby...
What?
A man named Dirty Summers was...
What? boulder that? Sorry.
Mr. So...
And how do... Sorry.
Mr. So...
What? And how do I fit in all this? Sorry.
Mr. So... A man named...
What? Really?
Your calling card was found at the crime scene. That's enough to make you a suspect.
You cannot be serious. This proves nothing. Sorry, you lost me there.
I shall take my leave.
What are you gawping at?
I shall take my leave. May I ask for your assistance?
No, sir, I've never heard of it.
Can I ask you a question?
No, sir, I've never heard of it.
If we stay out much longer, I'm going to need some supper. Do you feel like a meat pie?
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, sir, I can't help you.
Yeah, I did.